Hi class, hope everyone's doing well. So we're going into the week of the midterm. So this week you'll be completing the midterm exam. So there's two parts to the midterm. There's a multiple choice part, will consist of 50 questions. You'll have 3.5 hours to complete these 50 questions. Okay, so make sure you plan accordingly. You also will have a programming part, which you'll have the whole week to complete from April 1st midnight to April 7th, 11:59. Okay, so you have all this time to complete the programming part. However, I recommend that you do start early. You will need as much time as possible to complete it. And if you have any questions, you should reach out. So that's another reason to start early. So if you do run into any issues or you have questions, you can reach out early and still have time to complete it. The midterm exam, you will not be able to turn it in late. Okay, so there's no 10% off for being late or anything like that. It's just not going to be accepted if it's late. So make sure you do submit that on time. Okay, so there's these two parts. Let's look at the midterm instructions. Okay, so here are the instructions. Again, it's basically most of the stuff, most of the things I just mentioned. So it's going to cover chapters 1 through 10 of the textbook. Okay, so you just make sure you are ready for that. So it's going to cover chapters 1 through 10. The multiple choice questions will come from chapters 1 through 10, and the lab or the programming exercise that you'll be completing for the midterm. This programming exercise will cover the concepts covered in 1 through 10. Okay, so make sure you review that. And again, here are the two links to the multiple choice questions, which you have 3.5 hours to complete the 50 questions. And again, it's 40% of your grade. And then the programming task is 60% of your grade. Okay, and again, you have 1 week to complete. You work on these individually, both parts individually. Okay, this is not a group assignment. And make sure you don't submit it late, because again, it will not be accepted late. And start early so that if you do run into any questions, you can reach out early and I can get back to you early, and you still have time to complete the midterm exam. So let's look specifically at the programming task. Okay, so this is the programming task. Again, it is worth 60% of your grade. So you're going to create a sort of a bank account management system, but the point is you're going to be creating an account class, and there's various functions and data members that you're going to need to include, constructors, operator overloading, etc. So make sure you read through this description or these instructions very carefully, and make sure you address each of these bullets. Okay, so I recommend reading through all of them once, trying to make sense of it, and then reading through all of it again, and really just make sure you have a good solid understanding of what's expected, and then begin programming. And as you're programming, make sure you're addressing each of the bullet points. Okay, so that's these. You're going to be creating an account class. You're going to be required to separate its interface from its implementation. So remember that you should have two separate files, the account.h and account.cpp. And then you're going to have your main file, which is going to use this account class. You're going to have to create some other functions that are going to be included within this main file. Okay, but not a member not a member function of the account class, but instead functions of this main within this main.cpp file. Okay, so notice the use of pointers where you should, and then also again function overloading, recursive functions, using function prototypes, and then the menu that you'll be creating within a loop to allow the user to basically select different options until they and then execute certain actions based on the options they select. Okay, these are all laid out here, and when the user selects to exit, option 8, it should exit the program. Okay, so again, make sure you read through all of these bullet points at least twice, and make sure that you have a good solid understanding. And then as you're writing your code, make sure you're reading through these bullet points and making sure you're addressing each individual point, each individual bullet point. Okay, then submitting as usual. You should submit by zipping up all three files, right? The main.cpp, account.h, and account.cpp. Zip them all up into a zip file. It should be called midterm_your last name underscore your first name dot zip. So for me it would be midterm underscore Mullen underscore Jamal dot zip. Okay, so make sure you name it appropriately. And then make sure you submit here. Okay, you're going to submit here on Canvas under this assignment. Okay, and you're going to be graded. You're going to be graded the same way you're graded on your lab. So you're going to be graded based on documentation, based on the program correctness, the readability, and then the assignment specifications. Okay, so make sure that you read through the same lab guidance, lab guide or rubric that that you've been using. Make sure you read through that as well, as I'll be using that to also grade your midterm exam. Okay, so that includes also including the header at the top of the page, commenting, etc. Okay, so make sure you address all of that. All right, so I hope all that makes sense. If you have any questions, please reach out as soon as possible. Remember, you have 1 week to complete this midterm exam, both parts. So it's important that you start early and reach out as soon as possible if you have any questions. Okay, thanks and good luck.